A few years back, we spent some time tracking the battle over the media space in Georgia, the former Russian Republic in the Caucasus. That story has since moved on. In parliamentary elections 5 months ago, President Mikhail Saakashvili's United National Movement was defeated by the new Georgian Dream coalition led by billionaire Jazeera English. Georgia experienced its first democratic transition of power, a bitter political struggle that was played out on the country's television screens. During the election, the news programs that Georgians chose to watch could well have affected the votes they cast. TV channels were that partisan. Since the vote, some channels have changed hands. The ownership landscape is being redrawn. However, the partisanship behind the journalism remains. The listening posts flow Phillips now on the political players, their media playthings, and the channels that are still far too close to those who hold power in Georgia.
The television tower. It dominates the skyline of Georgia's capital city and commands its airwaves. The politicians jostling for control know its power.
Every politician, every statement tries to have an influence on media. Very often it's used as a political tool.
Politicians subsidize them in order to use them as tools to further their political careers and ambitions.
It doesn't matter if you were a ruling party or an oppositional leader. You would have ambitions to control media anyway here in Georgia. It's always been the case.
In the run-up to last October's election, the battle lines were drawn and various media outlets took sides. In one corner, President Mikhail Saakashvili, leader of the United National Movement, former hero of the 2003 Rose Revolution, backed by Georgia's public broadcaster and two major private channels, Imedi and Rustavi 2. In the other corner, Jazeera English, the billionaire founder of the Georgia Dream coalition, whose family now owns 4 media outlets. The biggest one, TV9, belongs to his wife. Tamar Ruhadze was the head of the channel's newsroom. She resigned at the end of last year.
Channel 9 is owned by Ivanishvili's wife. This is perfectly legal according to Georgian law, but naturally it has created a certain discomfort.
The Ivanishvili family still owns a total of 4 TV channels. 3 of them provide current affairs content. They're all somewhat small TV channels, but there hasn't been an effort yet from the family of the Prime Minister to distance themselves from these assets.
The power of television and one piece of video was revealed last September, just before the general election. 2 pro-Ivanishvili TV stations, TV9 and Maestro, broadcast a clip purporting to show torture and sexual abuse at a Tbilisi prison under President Saakashvili's rule. It had an impact.
There's speculation that the release of these videos was strategically timed just a week ahead of the elections to maximize the impact on the elections. The videos, I think, resulted in a lot of people who were undecided to support Ivanishvili and to vote against the government, to vote for political change. I think they were a game changer in these elections.
I don't know what would have happened if these videos were never shown, but I can assure you that the footage played a huge role. It was probably the final straw.
This was one of the main reasons why the elections ended the way they ended. I think it's still too early to kind of discuss what was really going on. We had rumors that some of the shots may be fake. You have all these questions and you don't have answers to them still.
Imedi TV, the private channel that was pro-Saakashvili, said that the prison video may have been staged. But now that same video has helped bring Ivanishvili to power, it looks as though Imedi is changing sides, not for the first time. Imedi has had a back-and-forth history. When it began broadcasting in 2003, the channel was on Saakashvili's side, but fell out with him in 2007. Saakashvili's security forces raided the channel while it was on air, turned out the lights, turned off the cameras. It then got transferred back to Saakashvili supporters under complicated and dubious circumstances. But no sooner had Ivanishvili won the October election when it was announced that Imedi was changing hands once again.
In the past, the public was not given any information about Imedi's change in ownership. Now, too, there are questions. We just woke up one day to discover Imedi had new owners. Naturally, the public, as well as us journalists, want to know under what conditions and circumstances all this has happened, and why they decided to return it today, of all days.
We have a whole new team now. Previously, there was a very different editorial policy at Imedi, and unfortunately, Georgian viewers were exposed to propaganda. We now have a long way to go to regain trust and rebuild ratings. There are very high expectations about the reorganization of this channel, and we feel a huge responsibility for it.
The constant jostling for power at Imedi goes to the heart of the problem of journalism in Georgia. The new Prime Minister is now under pressure to transfer his channel, TV9, to a third party to give it more independence, but that hasn't happened yet. And here's the bigger problem. In countries like Georgia, with a population of around 4 million, advertising revenues are small. No one gets into the TV business to make money, so TV is the preserve of the rich, and wealthy Georgians are using their money to gain influence, even to gain power.
From my own experience, politicians are the worst enemies of journalism. I don't think it's good for our country that Ivanishvili's family owns a TV company, and in general, I think it's very bad that politicians have their own TV stations. But I do think we have to go through this stage.
You would have pro-governmental TV station and you would have oppositional TV station. There was nothing in the middle. There was not such thing that independent TV channel. When you have these particular TV channels here in Georgia where market is too small and it's Georgian spoken and you only have 4 million of people who are listening to you because the rest of the world doesn't just understand it. And it's really hard to stay in the middle because when you are in the middle, Georgians just don't watch you.
I think many of the best media outlets and some of the best journalism in Georgia, no matter if it's on TV or in print or online, is funded by international donors. There's not much appreciation yet among the public how important investigative and independent reporting is.
These issues around independence, financial sustainability, or even journalistic professionalism need to be put in context. In the last 10 years, Georgia has been through a revolution, suffered endemic corruption, and fought a brief war with Russia. But despite all the hardship, it still seems to have more freedom of expression than most of its neighbours in the Caucasus. The battle to control the airwaves still rages on. Players continue to change sides. The next few months will show if the rules can change, and another battle in Georgia can finally be over.
Right now, our media is at the same stage of development as our society. If society progresses, so too will the media.
Georgian media is in the middle of a struggle. It's trying to become both more professional and more independent.
This is #1 test for Jazeera English's government actually, and it's up to them how they're going to pass this test.
More